Hello, Canucks fans. Welcome back to another episode of Canucks Conversation brought to you by Bet365. We're coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studios. Visit shoptoyota.ca or visit your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. My name is Dave Verdrelli. I'm joined by Harmon Dial. The weather is not turning. It's nice. I like this. I like this weather we're getting right now. Give me sun and some cold. Like, it's a little cloudy for my liking, but I'll take it. I'll take it over the rain.
Oh, any day of the week. And honestly, over the last few years, I don't know if this is more of a recent trend or if this has always kind of been the case and I just hadn't previously noticed. But I've always felt people over exaggerated the 8 months of rain or whatever, because I
Yeah.
feel like May's pretty good, June's pretty good, July, August, and then honestly, September and the first half of October are pretty good. So that's what, 5.5 months of pretty
Yeah.
decent weather. And it feels, especially the last few years, that you'll usually get a pretty good September, and the first half of October is usually pretty good too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Shout out to Vancouver. All right. NHL slate. We want to talk about the first games. We got a super chat right away. All right. This is from Jody Bertelson in the chat. Said Trey the Savage. I like that. Trey Savage has been made available tonight. What do you all think? I love the super chat. I appreciate it. We're gonna hold off on the baseball talk. I'm not allowed to talk baseball until anyone else. But yeah, that's an interesting decision by the Jays. We'll get Jacob's thought on that later. Jacob, make sure you save that. Make sure you save that. I want you to bring it up in anyone else. And if you want to make sure your question or comment gets on the show, hit us with a super chat. Proceeds from our super chat go to the BC Mental Health Foundation, changing the face of mental health and addiction by supporting breakthroughs in care, public understanding, research, and knowledge exchange. All right, I want to get to our opening segment right off the hop here. It was an NHL opening night of 3 games, and I want to talk about each one of these. So without further ado, I want to tell everybody about the Daily Faceoff Survivor Pool, which you're running out of time to sign up for, Harmon. If you think you've got the hockey knowledge to go the distance, and I know you do, this one's for you. Game of elimination, strategy, and a $2,500 grand prize. You start with 2 lives. Each round, you pick one winner from the slate of NHL games, but here's the twist. You can only use each team twice throughout the entire contest. Get a pick wrong, that's 1 life gone. Lose twice, and you're out. The pool runs until there's just 1 person left standing, and that winner takes home $2,500. So are you ready to outlast the rest? Sign up now at dailyfaceoff.com or hit the link in the show notes. May the best fan survive. I'll do my picks soon. I'll do them on tomorrow's show. All right. So let's start in order here. Chicago, Florida. We thought Florida was going to win that game, but the way I want to focus on it and what I want to talk about from what I saw in that game was just, it looks like it's just going to be another, I won't call it a wasted year, but it looks like another year where Connor Bedard's going to play with literal poo on his lines. Like, it sucks. It sucks to watch because I thought Bedard looked a step faster. I thought he looked more engaged. I thought he looked like, as a young player should, a player of his caliber, look, you want to look better each year. And I know it's only 1 game, but he looked like he had an extra jump in his step. He looked like he was doing a lot of good things. There was one play in particular that comes to mind where at the end of the second period, he kind of bursts through the neutral zone with speed, cuts to the middle to create space for himself, and then sells it like he's going to shoot, gets the defender to go really low, and then he makes a last-minute pass to Colton Dach, who whiffs on the chance. And it's not to pick on Colton Dach. It's just to say that, like, Ilya Mikheyev is starting on Connor Bedard's line again this year. And yeah, like I said, not to pick on Colton Dach. It's not to pick on him or even Mikheyev for that matter. It's more just a commentary that it's crazy that Chicago's going to be bad once again. And yeah, I'll say it. Waste another year of Connor Bedard. That sucks. That sucks for the sport. It's not good to watch. I don't like seeing it. Like, there's no reason that Chicago should be this bad still. I get you do your rebuild. There's no reason they should be this bad still.
Yeah, and their marquee acquisition was Andre Burakovsky, who was a sub 40-point cap dump from Seattle, and they immediately gave him time with Bedard as well. They've got no high-end line mate for him to play with, and really, this is what's going to become a little bit frustrating is if Bedard stagnates this year compared to Macklin Celebrini, who at least has another star up-and-coming young player and Will Smith to play on the same line with. All the narratives are going to be, Bedard bust, overhyped. And like the fact of the matter is he just doesn't have enough talent to play with. He and Frank Nazar, who, by the way, on the second line is going to be a stud. He was on my top 10 breakouts candidate story that I did before the season started, and he plotted two points in that opener against Florida. But other than those two guys, they don't have nearly enough talent around them. And the blue line as well is really young and inexperienced. To me, on paper, they are the worst team in the NHL. They're
Yeah.
worse than the Sharks.
Yep, they are worse than the Sharks. You're right, and that was going to be my final thing that I want to say about it. Is just like Chicago's going to be worse than the Sharks. They put up a good fight. They put up a good fight in that game. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, they don't have the finishers. They don't have the finishers, and they don't have anybody to play with Connor Bedard. And it's just disappointing. It's just disappointing to watch. I want to see more competitiveness in the league, especially like you said, a guy of Bedard's caliber. I want to see him succeed, and he needs help to do that.
The trouble too, I think, is philosophically what Kyle Davidson did was a scorched earth rebuild. Right? They traded away Brandon Hagel for multiple first-round picks. They traded away guys like Jake McCabe, Alex DeBrincat, let Dylan Strome walk as an unqualified RFA, not even getting any assets back for him to tank for Bedard. And it worked in the sense that they got Bedard, but the problem they've run into is working your way back up and accumulating talent is harder in this world where, because the cap is rising, teams don't have to trade as many of their good players that they otherwise couldn't afford to re-sign. Like Kevin Fiala is a great example that I always bring up. Fiala was an 85-point player for the Minnesota Wild. The Wild had to trade him during the flat cap era because they just couldn't afford to re-sign him. The Rangers with Pavel Buchnevich, he was a top line caliber right winger. They had to move him just because they didn't have cap space. And so other teams got to benefit from those types of players being available. And I'm sure in the mind of Chicago, they would have looked at it and gone, well, building back up shouldn't be too hard once we get Bedard, because guys like Buchnevich and Fiala should theoretically become available in the trade market. But because the cap's skyrocketing now, all teams are able to just do the Florida thing where they re-sign their own guys. And that leaves a team with Chicago that has a ton of cap space. But what are you going to do with all that cap space if there's no talent to actually go out and get? So, man, it's going to be a long time before they're good.
Rangers, Penguins, next game up on the slate. And this is probably the one that we're going to talk about the biggest story of NHL opening night, if you ask me. Archer Silovs, first regular season shutout of his career. JT Miller, a -2 on the night. And look, I don't think we're going to pick on JT too much here because there's rumors he's playing hurt. Remember, he had that weird looking injury that we talked about during the preseason. But I do at least want to mention, and maybe it's not fair that I'm mentioning this, but I do want to mention it because I watched this game very closely and I went and rewatched it this morning, actually. When he was named captain, we were like, okay, this is an interesting pick. It'll be interesting to see how long until you start to see some laziness on the back check, some going slow to the bench on a line change. How long is it going to be until that happens? It turns out the answer was game one because all of that was present last night. And I don't know, like I listened to him talk post game, and look, JT's always honest. He is always going to be honest. And he's talking about how his legs felt heavy. He didn't get a ton of time in the preseason. Didn't get a lot of tune-ups, but it just felt like, I don't know. It was like, it was kind of like sulking. It felt like post game, and maybe I'm not being fair. I've been accused a lot of being biased against JT. I'm not trying to be, but look, if that's my captain and I'm seeing him not hustle on a back check and skate slow to the bench in game one of the season, I'm sorry, I don't care what you're going through. That's a bad look.
For me, the Rangers as a whole are a collection of players that, for the most part, especially the forwards, they just feel like they play as individuals rather than as a team. That's what, like, we talk about some teams as, oh, they're greater than the sum of their parts. The Rangers last year have really looked like less than the sum of their parts, where they had the individual talent, but a lot of these guys just aren't committed to the two-way side of the game. And I'm not talking about JT, I'm talking the rest of the team now,
Sure.
Where guys are making plays on an island, they're forcing plays. I brought this example up, but last year, when the Rangers were still in the thick of the playoff race, Calgary was in town, I believe on the second leg of a back-to-back, absolutely gassed. The Rangers really needed that win on home ice, and they laid the biggest egg I've ever seen. That was more dysfunctional than Bruce Boudreau era hockey. Not just the lack of structure, but the lack of care defensively.
Yeah,
the blind passes. They just didn't play as a team. It was like watching mercenaries out there. And that's why a lot of people have been talking about the Rangers as a bounce back candidate this year. A lot of analysts are projecting them to make the playoffs again. I suppose if Mike Sullivan can come in and if Igor Shesterkin stands on his head, it's possible. But I'm lower on the Rangers than most. And I think you saw last night that they have flaws, right? Because sure, you can point out Shesterkin, Fox, in the top 6, they've got star pieces, but look at their depth, man.
Yeah,
they're bottom 6 right now. Connor Sheary, who didn't even play in the NHL last year. Noah Laba, who is a good story, but he's an unproven rookie. Taylor Radish, fourth line, Adam Edstrom, Sam Carrick, and Matt Rempe. That's not going to give you any offense. And then you look at their bottom 4 defense, and it's reminiscent of the Canucks' bottom 4 defense last year, where it's Susie Borgen, Vakanainen, Braden Schneider. You're just not going to get enough offense from the bottom 6. The bottom 4 is problematic, and you've got a team that just overall looks slow last night.
I was just going to bring that up. Watching the Rangers defense try to contest with the second line forecheck of, it was Mantha, Malkin, and Brazo. Leads the league in goals, by the way, Brazo. But anyways, that second line, it was literally like watching Vinny Desharnais at the start of last season. It was that bad. It was that bad. They couldn't break the puck out. They were just getting swarmed on the forecheck. And that line for Pittsburgh, like in my mind, and you might disagree, but in my mind, that was Pittsburgh's best line in that game. They were so good. They were just swarming. And that's the thing, that was the line that JT's line was hard matched against. So, and this is, not to make excuses for JT. I know the underlying numbers looked awful, but when you're hemmed in your own zone, it's the story of last year. Like, we know this very well in Vancouver. When you're hemmed in your own zone and your defense cannot move the puck to save their lives, you're going to bleed chances. And look, like that second line for Pittsburgh was working really hard. And the end result, when you have a line that's working as hard as that line was, and you have a defense group that has Carson Soucy in it, not to single out Carson Soucy, but the bottom 4 defense group of the Rangers that you just outlined, not very good. When you have that, and also Fox, I think Adam Fox is overrated. I'll also say that. But when you have all of those pieces together, it's a perfect formula for just getting hemmed in your own zone. And that's what happened last night.
Yeah, and to bring the Canucks angle back into it a little bit as well, Carson Soucy's drop-off needs to be studied. Yeah. It's unbelievable, because the 23-24 season with Tyler Myers, during Rick Tockett's first full season, he was a legit shutdown second pair presence. And we were talking about him as, he's the third best defenseman on this team behind Hughes and Hronek. And it wasn't as if he was benefiting from some individual PDO luck or anything. Legitimately, his defensive numbers were high end, and he'd improved his ability to at least be passable in small areas with those little defensive zone retrievals, to not skate pucks out by himself, but make those simple 10 to 20 foot passes that ensure that you're not getting stuck in your own end all the time. And then we saw him at the start of last season in the Canucks uniform. Just him and Myers were flat out unplayable together. And it was definitely a lot more on Soucy than it was on Myers. And then you think, okay, fresh start in New York, is he going to be able to bounce back? And no, he's been the Carson Soucy that we saw in Vancouver for last year. And that's a really big problem for the Rangers, because they're depending on him in top 4 minutes.
And I'm going to chime in here because I pulled it up. I remember, obviously, 23-24, we talk about how Soucy was so good for the Canucks. He only played 40 games. Do you guys remember? Like, he dealt with injuries, didn't even play half the season. And, we talk about his fall off, but it's almost like, it's almost like that. It's not really a fall off. He just had a little 40-game blip with the Canucks where everything went right for him. And I know he had some decent years in Seattle. I think he had a 10-goal season in Seattle, but we know his defensive play wouldn't have been what it was when he was playing with Myers for that season in 23-24. So Harm, you're absolutely right. Like, Carson Soucy is going to be that interesting one that, like, 10 years from now, someone's going to do a deep dive on and be like, what was this guy's career and what happened in that half a season in 23-24 where he looked like a potential top pair defenseman for 40 games.
Mariners are blowing it, by the way. I know people are wondering. I got it on in the background. Mariners are just absolutely blowing it right now. I'm literally turning this off. Jacob, let's get to Feud. But before that, I want to tell everybody about our friends at Uber Eats. NHL season is ramping up. Canucks Army's pumped to be partnering with Uber Eats all season long to deliver hockey fans the ultimate game day experience. The best matchups on the ice are made even better with top pairings and exclusive game day offers on Uber Eats. We can't wait to get downtown for the home opener on Thursday this week, and Uber Eats is doing something big for Canucks fans. So come hang with us and Uber Eats to celebrate the return of Canucks hockey. Again, why did I do that again? What am I reading in the script? Anyways, Canucks Army is going to be right there in the mix as well. So if you're heading to the game, make sure to drop by after 12:30 p.m. around Rogers Arena to hang out with us and get in on the excitement Uber Eats is building. Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app, starting on home opener game night, where they can get anything, almost anything, from game day eats to paper plates and napkins if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip. Before, during, and after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Technical producer Jacob Lazar, take it away.
I don't know why it always does that. Puts Harm in the little producer box. Now, Quads has to restart his computer, I think. And that's probably why he's frozen right now. He mentioned he had like updates that were coming. So, Harm, it's just going to be you and I and a frozen
quad.
It's
so funny. He's just like staring at me, hoping I get 130 plus points.
And I must apologize. I'm wearing my Mariners hat. So, obviously, that's why they're blowing their lead, because, I'm giving them the bad juju. Anyways, it's another edition of Canucks Conversation Family Feud. Thank you to everyone who filled out the survey. You guys got it done early, which means we could play it early. It's going to be a very busy day tomorrow, obviously, with the home opener. There goes Quads. Now, you know what? We'll just we'll go like this. Why not? Very busy day tomorrow with the home opener, so we're getting it out of the way today. For those of you who are new, and I have to stall as I get files uploaded in the background, we're going to play the Fast Money Family Feud. Harmon is going to go first. He'll have 25 seconds on the clock. When his time will begin when I finish reading the first question. Harm, if you can't think of a response, just say pass. We'll come back to it at the end. Let's do this really quick before Quads comes back in, and then we can let him know when he's safe to rejoin.
Sweet, yeah.
All right, Harm, ready to go?
Yeah.
How many NHL teams will Thatcher Demko have played for by the time he retires?
1.
Rounded to the nearest 5, how many penalty minutes will Quinn Hughes have this season?
20.
Which current Canuck will be the next one traded away from the team?
Baines.
How many current Canucks players will eventually have their jerseys retired?
1.
Besides JT Miller, name a Canuck who captained another NHL team.
Mark Messier.
Yep, I'll give it to you. All right.
I blanked on the who should be traded. I just had to throw something up there. That was not a good one.
Quads is back in here, so you're going to have to be a little quiet, and I will move everybody around. There we go. All right, Quads. I'm tallying up Harm's score right now, so good timing.
Yeah, most of them were fine, but there was one that I took way too long to think on and just blurted out a random answer. I don't think this was a good start. We're probably under 100 points. So I don't think you can hear us, actually.
Yeah, I don't think you can hear us. Yeah, give him the wave. You were
hey. I don't think it went that well. I think it's gonna be under 100, if I'm being honest.
Sorry, I still can't hear you. One sec. Okay, say it again.
I don't think it went that well.
Oh no.
Yeah, I think it's probably under 100.
It's all right.
Okay, well, it's not that bad, Harm. You did reach 100. You got to 106.
Okay.
It's okay.
That's doable. Not great.
Lots of number ones and twos on the board, Harm. All good.
Yes, there are some number ones and twos still available for Quads. Quads, you're going to have 30 seconds on the clock. Your time will begin when I finish reading the first question. If you can't think of a response, say pass. Harm should have passed that one question.
Javi Baez just hit a 2-run shot, and it's now 7-3.
So
I said I was going off. I turned it on because I couldn't listen to Harm, obviously. So I turned the game back on, and now, this is over.
Right, Quads, you missed it. I apologize for wearing my Mariners hat because obviously that's the reason they're losing now.
Yeah, brutal.
If you can't think of a response, say pass. Again, Harmon probably should have passed that one question. We'll get to that when we go through the results. And if you give one of Harmon's answers, you will hear the buzzer. There we go. And I will ask you to try again. All right. You ready to go?
Yeah, I'm a little rattled right now. I'm not gonna lie. Like I just watched Javi Baez just put a dagger in the Mariners. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, I'll be good.
All right. How many NHL teams will Thatcher Demko have played for by the time he retires?
2.
Rounded to the nearest 5, how many penalty minutes will Quinn Hughes have this season?
20.
Try again.
25.
Which current Canuck will be the next one traded away from the team?
Sherwood.
How many current players' jerseys will eventually be retired by the organization?
1.
Try again.
2.
Besides JT Miller, name a Canuck who captained another NHL team.
Messier.
Try again.
Oh, yeah, I timed out. It's okay.
Okay. Well, let's see what happened. Oh, I got bugs flying around.
I don't blame you. This wasn't.
This
it was a winnable one, but it wasn't easy.
Yes.
That one was tough right at the end.
The chat was giving me some flack last week for making the surveys too easy. So I upped the difficulty for this week.
Yeah, Quads, I completely blanked on the who's going to be traded next.
Oh, yeah? Who did you end up saying?
Dude, I just had to say something so I wouldn't time myself out. I said Baines.
Okay, that's okay. Why is that a bad answer? They
Well,
don't wanna
because-
lose them on waivers?
well,
I don't know.
Somebody like Bluger or like a Mancini, like one of the D prospects would have
Okay.
been the right answer.
All right. We'll get to that, Harm.
People are like, why Sherwood? Contract year. If the
Yeah.
guy wants $6 million, they're gonna move him at the deadline. Are people this silly? Anyways, continue.
All right. How many teams will Demko have played for by the time he retires? This was the gimme, pretty easy. This one and question 4 were kind of the big points ones. You guys got the number 1 and 2 answer. 2 was actually the number 1 answer with 34 points, 30 points for 1. Rounded to the nearest 5, how many PIMs will Quinn Hughes have? You guys both said 20. That was actually the number 4 answer, only 15 points. Quads, you went up to 25. That got you 26 points as the number 2 answer.
Nice.
What was the number 1 answer?
30 for Quinn Hughes. Yeah. Which he's kind of been around that his whole career.
Okay, yeah. His PIMs have been a little higher than I thought.
Well, and especially because last year I think he went like almost 20 games without getting a penalty. I remember J-Pat was kind of tracking it on Rinkwide. Like we're at the quarter point of the season and Quinn Hughes hasn't gotten a minor penalty yet. And then towards the end of the year, those numbers started to rack up.
Also, he had the Josh Norris, that was this last season, right? When he hit Norris into the end boards.
That was
And
last season.
yeah, I mean, that was a bad call that inflated his PIMs.
So you guys are up to 166. Now there's three
Can
questions
I
to
give an
go.
answer for the captain's
No,
question?
you cannot give an answer.
No.
There's 3 questions left, but Quads has to get his 34 points in these next 2 to have a chance.
Let's do it.
Current Canuck traded from the team.
Baines
Quads
has to be number 1.
Baines is not number 1. Baines was the
Damn.
number 5 answer. 7 points though. Quads, I liked your reasoning behind Sherwood.
Yeah.
Only 3 points
People
though.
like him too much. Yeah, I get it.
Teddy Bluger, number 1. Now I will say, Bluger number 1, Derek Forbert number 2. Do you guys want the Canucks to have the worst penalty kill in the NHL?
Yeah, exactly. What were those worth, Jacob?
Bluger was 21. Forbert was worth 8.
Okay.
Hoglander was actually the number 2 answer.
Interesting.
Willander, Mancini, both on the list.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, that's probably the way to go. And again, this is the current Canuck will be the one traded. We're not saying we want these guys traded. I know the people in the chat are going to say, well, no, we don't want them to trade their penalty killers. Yeah, I know, guys. Just don't worry about it.
It won't be sure. Okay, anyways, yeah, continue.
All right, Quads, you need 31 points here on this question.
I don't even remember what the question was.
Yeah,
How
I don't
many
either.
current Canucks players' jerseys will eventually be retired?
Okay, we might get it.
So, Harm, you said 1. That was worth
Number
29 points.
Oh, and his number 1 answer. Damn it. Oh.
It was the number 2 answer.
Oh.
You guys are going to squeak out a win.
Oh my god.
34 points.
Yo,
For
let's
2.
go.
And I think the assumption there is Hughes Pedersen, probably.
That's
Maybe Hughes
crazy.
Demko.
Oh, hell yeah.
The people that said 3, I would assume they're assuming Demko in there as well. Couple people said 0, which I
That's
mean,
bold.
have you ever watched Quinn Hughes play hockey?
Well, like that, I don't know. If he leaves this year, never won the team a cup or anything. I don't know.
Neither did Pavel Bure, and his number got retired as well. So
That's
I think if Hughes, if this were to happen to be Hughes's last year as a Canuck,
well, so
he's
Bure
gonna
brought them to a Stanley Cup final. Let's
Sure,
call
he
it-
did.
Yeah, okay.
He did.
Okay.
That is fair.
Anyways.
All right. So you guys did it. Now, Quads, you got 97 points, Harm 106, 203 total.
That's a great
Wow.
clean Family Feud win. That
Now,
was a tough
especially 'cause-
survey.
Because
Oh man.
Quads did not get an answer for, besides JT Miller, name a Canuck who captained another NHL team. Harm, you got Messier, and that was Quad's first guess as well. That was the number one answer. Some really
Linden.
interesting names. Linden captained the New York Islanders.
Yeah.
Ed Jovanovski, Matt
Oh, forgot about
Sundin,
Jovo, yeah.
Pavel Bure. Number 6 answer. Bure captained the Panthers for a year.
Wasn't the question what?
Nate
Oh,
another NHL team. And
Yes.
probably my favorite on the list here, the number 6 answer was Oliver Ekman Larson.
That's great.
Oh, wow.
That's so
That's
some
funny.
other great names on here. Pat Quinn got a couple votes.
nice. That's a good pull.
That was a very good poll.
Don Lever, right?
Don Lever got a couple. I
That's
saw that
right.
name
There
once or
we go.
twice. And what was was that other really interesting one that I saw? Thomas Vanek. I didn't fact check it. Did Vanek ever captain
No,
Buffalo?
no.
He definitely wore a letter in Buffalo, but I feel
Yeah,
like
you weren't. He was never
Yeah.
the captain.
okay, now I do need to go on a little tangent here. So if you noticed, a couple of the names you brought up here, Bure, Jovo, and actually Willie Mitchell got some votes in here as well, all captained the Florida Panthers. So if I told you this stat, guys, I'm curious what your reaction is going to be. So the Florida Panthers have existed for 32 seasons. In exactly half of them, 16, a former Vancouver Canuck has worn a letter, whether the C or an A, for the Florida Panthers.
What?
Yeah, in half of the Florida Panthers seasons in franchise
That's pretty
history,
incredible.
a former Canuck, not even a guy that would eventually go to the Canucks, but a former Canuck wore a letter. And this includes a stretch of nearly a decade and a half where they went from Bure as a captain to Ole Jokinen, who of course never played for the Canucks, but then Jokinen passed it off to Ed Jovanovski, who went to Willie Mitchell. So 3 of those 4 being former Canucks. Now, when you look at some of the guys who wore A's for the Florida Panthers, some interesting names, including Martin Jelena, Brian Allen, obviously, who went over in the first Luongo trade. Gustav Forsling last year wore an A. So these two franchises are always going to be intertwined because of Hall of Famers getting traded between them in Bure and Luongo twice, obviously. But also, it's so strange to look back and see how many guys not only have played. Oh, Brian McCabe was the captain of the Florida Panthers as well for a few years. Sorry, I missed him in that batch. It went Bure to Ole Jokinen to Brian McCabe to Ed Jovanovski to Willie Mitchell. So 4 of 5 captains being former Canucks.
I was wrong about Vanek. I googled it. He was a co-captain for one season.
There we go. I knew that.
He wore the C-string home games. That's so funny.
Co-captains? What kind of?
Yeah,
That's insane. That's
No.
so stupid.
Stop
I never
this.
ever.
Isn't like U13 soccer.
Exactly. Thank you. That has to be the last time there was co-captains in the NHL, right?
Probably.
Just pick a captain.
Yeah.
Or don't have one.
Yeah, or don't have one.
Actually, funny enough, I believe when Bure was the captain in Florida, he was a co-captain as well with Paul Laus or Loss. I've never even heard of this guy, but he was, I believe, the co-captain with Pavel Bure.
Okay. AI's so useless. It's like the most recent NHL co-captains were Jack Hughes and Quinn Hughes. And
Yes,
talking about the All-Star
sure.
game. Anyways.
Anyways, that's my little rant about the Florida Panthers and Canucks with how their captains have intertwined. Last name I'll bring up was Byron Ritchie once wore an A for the Florida Panthers.
Wow.
That's the name.
That's insane.
Yeah, and of course he finished his NHL career with Vancouver. So he doesn't even count as one of the former Canucks that went on to Florida and wore a letter. He was a Florida alternate captain who then retired or finished his NHL career with the Vancouver Canucks. So there we go. For those
Did
of you,
I share
for
my
those of you
text?
who need a good trivia question, just find a Canucks Panthers captain related one.
Did I share my text, Harm? What I texted you last night when we were watching the LA game? Did I already say it? I feel like I didn't say it on the show.
I don't think you said it on the show.
This is why I texted Harmon. This is the extent of my analysis of the LA game. So LA started well, looked worse as the game went on. I texted you, CC looks even more useless with that stupid silver helmet on. Literally looked like a bot. Even Susie, like CC looked so bad last night, and so did the rest of the LA Kings. Yeah, I don't think the Kings are going to be very good. Pretty confident in my pick that I think they're going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, only one game, and it's the Colorado Avalanche, obviously, but they stunk it up in that.
Yeah,
home
but it was
opener,
Colorado
no doubt
Avalanche
about
with
it.
Scott Wedgwood in net.
I mean, it's still the Colorado Avalanche, and Wedgwood honestly played pretty well. Yeah. I watched that game, and he was rock solid. That game was interesting because for the first 8 to 10 minutes, the Kings forwards just came out flying, and they were applying so much vertical up ice pressure. They're winning battles all over the ice. Their forecheck looked incredible. Byfield was zipping around all over the ice, and for the first 10 minutes, you were like, oh, it might not, if the Kings forwards can keep playing like this, it might not matter how mediocre and bad LA's bottom four defense is, because they don't have to do anything. The LA defense for the first 10 minutes didn't have to do anything because LA's forwards just won battles up the ice. And so the LAD didn't have to break pucks out and really make plays. But then Colorado shook off the rust. The big guys started taking over, and at a certain point, that 5-man trio, we talk a lot about the Oilers 5-man trio when they can roll out McDavid and Draisaitl out with whoever else is on their wing, with the Echo and Bouchard pair. The Avalanche 5-man unit of McKinnon, Natchez, Lehkonen, Makar, and Taves is a cheat code. They single-handedly took that game over, and LA's, like, looking at the Kings roster, that the blue line is going to be an issue at times, but their forwards I would expect to be a lot better than they were in the last 50 minutes of that game.
Yep. No notes.
I also think, I want to double check this, but I believe the Kings they're playing again tonight in Vegas. So second leg of a back-to-back on the road against a powerhouse Vegas team. Mitch Marner's Golden Knights debut. That's going to be a tough game to win. They could easily start the year 0-2.
Someone in the chat said that too. Definitely happening. Yeah. What do you mean easily? Like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
No, don't jinx it now, though.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I called yesterday, Harm? Tell me what I called.
I don't remember what you called.
Penguins money line. I told everybody in our Bet365 the other day. Well, these are wide odds. I guess Bet365 doesn't know about Archer Silovs just yet. Plus 195 odds. We nailed it yesterday. All right. Let's get to, before anyone else, I'm reminding everybody about our watch party at Greta. I'm going to do it from the heart, like a wedding speech. Greta's a great spot for all games, home and away. And we've got one, speaking of away, coming up on October 11th. Edmonton versus Vancouver. Doors open at 6. Game starts at 7. You've got the arcade. You've got the bar. You've got the street food menu. We've got great deals exclusive to the people coming to hang out with us at the watch party. The tickets are free entry. Just secure them. You got to RSVP at nationgear.ca. Bring your friends. Like, we encourage groups at these things. We'll put tables together. We do whatever we want. Not whatever we want, but we do have a lot of fun, and we get to have kind of one sectioned off for us, and it's a lot of fun. Giveaways, just a really, really good time. Harm and I will both be there. Jacob's going to be there for some of it. Jacob, are you coming?
No, I can't, unfortunately.
Doesn't matter.
I'm unavailable.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Jacob will be there another time.
Yes.
Will be there
Next
another
one.
time. Yeah, next one. But don't be like Jacob. Make sure you come out. Make sure you're able to join us Saturday, October 11th. Tickets at nationgear.ca. And my choice of transportation to get there, as we transition to anyone else, is the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid, courtesy of Pacific Toyota dealers. Thank you.
Like a Quinn Hughes exit.
A no-compromise approach to electric vehicles that offers the best of both worlds. Drive up to 72 kilometers on the battery alone, and then seamlessly transition from electric mode to the gas engine for a combined range of 962 kilometers. There's no sacrifices when it comes to horsepower or style with its sleek, low, and wide exterior and sophisticated interior. It's loaded with tech that's actually easy to use, and you can plug in to recharge at home or at one of the over 2,000 public charging stations in BC alone. And now you can lease a 2025 Prius plug-in hybrid SE from $99 weekly at 3.49% APR for 60 months with $3,800 down, and it includes a $3,000 discount. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your Pacific Toyota dealer today. Get some anyone else's in.
We got to start with the super chat from earlier, though.
Oh yeah, what was it again? Oh yeah, Trey Savage.
Savage.
He's available tonight? What are you talking about? What was that?
Yeah,
about?
I personally, I think that's a ridiculous thing. He threw what, 78 pitches in game 2. I would have understood if they made Gausman available on short rest, but I think they really want him for game 5 if it goes there, and he just is not, like, he's older. He's not going to pitch on short rest. But part of me thinks that the whole Savage is available is just mind games. Right? Just make the Yankees think that the Jays could toss Savage out there for 5 outs in the middle of the game, knowing that the Yankees haven't touched him. I think that's what it is. It's just the Blue Jays playing mind games. I don't expect Savage to pitch. And I think if they do pitch him, it's a mistake because he's probably not going to look nearly as good on the road on short rest as he did pitching at the Rogers Center in game 2.
Absolutely agree. I didn't know he was available. This is going to a game 5, Jacob. Like, look, Mariners, Tigers is going to a game 5. I think Yankees, Jays is going to.
I knew. Like the way that the Blue Jays set their roster and how good they are at home. I think the Jays knew, and a lot of fans knew, that this was either going to be a sweep or a 5-game series.
Is it Gausman going tomorrow?
Yeah, Gausman. Well, game 5. There's a day off in between, but yes.
Oh yeah.
Game 5 would be Gausman back at home.
Fried.
Probably Fried, yeah.
Well, who else do they have?
I mean, you could pitch Rodon on short rest, but the Jays lit him up too. So
yeah,
this whole series was set up with game 4. The Blue Jays were not trying to win game 4. They were going to try and sweep the series, or they were going to go back home and win it at home in game 5.
Like they gambled last night. They gambled twice. There was 2 big moments where they gambled, and they lost both, which sucks. But yeah, they're still absolutely in the series. They're still leading the series. They can still close it out today. I'm more worried about the Mariners. I'm going to be honest. They faced Tarek Skubal in game 5, and it feels really lucky that they even got to Skubal the first time they faced him. That's the only reason they're still in this series. But yeah, game 5. I like the Jays' chances in game 5 way more than I like the Mariners' chances in game 5. I'm actually very, very worried. It was tough to watch them lose.
Well, and aren't both game 5s on Saturday? Are you gonna have to get us? You're gonna show up to the watch party either elated or devastated, Quads.
Oh, I forgot the watch parties on Saturday.
You just did the ad read.
Oh no, it would be on the 10th. They're playing. No, both game 5s would be on the 10th. We're good.
Okay, there we go. Yep. So I got
the
my
NL games.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay.
All right. Harm, anything on baseball that you wanted to get in there?
No, I want to shift it back to hockey, actually. So watching that, one more note from that Colorado Kings game that is relevant to the Canucks. I really think that the more I watch Cale Makar, the more convinced I am that Quinn Hughes is better than him. And this is coming off a game where Makar put up 2 points. He had an incredible sequence to fake a slapper, drive into the slot. Yeah. That led to Lekkonen's rebound goal, right? Like a really good game from Cale Makar. But this is where I think unless you're watching each of those guys for full length games on a very consistent basis, you're not going to notice how much more Quinn Hughes like single-handedly drives things by himself. Where like Makar feels like he's part of an important engine, obviously, but still a part of a lethal sort of 5-man crew. But up until that ludicrous assist he had, he was pretty quiet, and he still played well, don't get me wrong, but the way that Quinn Hughes is able to drive offense, drive zone exits, do everything without any help is something that Makar just doesn't have to do in Colorado. So that game, I think, against LA is a good example of Makar walks out of it with 2 points. and he gets the elite highlight reel play. And so that's the kind of sequence that makes you go, oh, he's the Norris guy. He's the best defenseman in the league. But I guarantee you, if Makar and Hughes switch spots, Hughes would put up
You're right.
the same totals that Makar did, but Makar couldn't do what Hughes does, I think, all by himself. And again, this isn't meant to be a shot at Cale Makar. Makar is like Makar and Hughes are in a league of their own.
He's the second best.
They're in a league of their own. It's Makar and Hughes together, and then a sizable gap, and then everybody else. But on a shift by shift basis, just because of this discrepancy and how much less talent and help Hughes has around him, I just can't help but think that even though the consensus is still that Makar is slightly ahead of Hughes, I have it the other way around.
The chat's loving this. You should know. It sounds like a quads take, but it's a little more well thought out than a normal quads take. I love it, Harm. I love it.
It's just like Quinn Hughes, every shift is just commanding the game all by himself.
Yeah.
And like Makar doesn't, like, now part of it is he doesn't have to do it because other guys can do it. And maybe if he had less help around him, then you would see him be more dominant. But it's like Quinn Hughes is like in the offensive zone. It's as if he is just in ISO mode in the NBA. Where it's just, I'm just going to put the superhero cape on and just dominate the whole shift. Whereas Makar, again, he can do ludicrous stuff that no other defenseman in the league can do, right? Like Makar has the best shot in the league he's the best goal scoring defenseman. He's a better scorer than Quinn Hughes, but in terms of actually bending the game and having the gravitational effect on the flow of a 5-on-5 play, I think Quinn Hughes is a better play driver.
Everyone agrees with you in the chat, and you know you're not going to get me to disagree with this take. Like, I can't even play devil's advocate. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And here's the thing, though, when it comes to the Norris conversation, if Makar scores 30 goals again, he's going to win the Norris. Yeah. It doesn't really matter what Hughes does. Like that's just how it is. That's how it is. I'm not saying that's how it should be, but that's how it's going to be. If a defenseman scores 30 goals, he is going to win the Norris. That's how it's going to work. Did you have anything else you want to say about the last night's games? I want to get to a couple contracts that were signed today and the slate of NHL games tonight as well.
No, we can move on.
Okay. Also, before we do any of that, I want to make sure we mention Canucks practiced today. According to Jeff Patterson over at CanucksArmy.com, scenes from practice, heavy focus on the power play and the penalty kill. The lines remain unchanged, so it looks like that's what we'll see tomorrow night. Arsh Bains skating with Philip Hedl and Connor Garland. I know people were wondering if that was going to change. It doesn't look like it. These are going to be the lines heading into opening night. You can read them, CanucksArmy.com. And I think by now I will text the powers that be if they're not, but I'm pretty sure Daily Faceoff will have the updated line combos. Yes, they do. They do. There you go. Look at Daily Faceoff. They're never late. All right. So yeah, heavy focus on power plays and penalty kills at practice. And yeah, Adam Foote had some nice stuff to say about Arshdeep Bains in a top 6 role. And then Jake DeBrusk also talked about the top unit power play. You can go read those quotes at CanucksArmy.com. Scenes from practice. All right.
Okay, hold on. I need to jump in really quickly first because I've had a bit of a debate with some people in the chat the last few days where I'm saying like I don't like Bains might be on the line that is called the second line, but unless Brayden Coots really struggles and clearly cannot hang in an NHL regular season game, like don't you guys think that Kane Coots Lekramaki line is probably going to get more 5-on-5 ice time, at least as a 3-man unit, than the Bains Hedl Garland line? Like to me, I'm not sold on the coaching staff keeping Bains on that line for the whole game.
You should go read what Adam Foote had to say about Bains if you disagree.
I know what Adam Foote's had to say about Bains, but we've also seen what Bains can do. And I know that like, a lot of people in our chat do not like Arshdeep Bains. I do. And I think he's really good in a bottom 6 role because he's so safe with how he plays. And we know that he's capable of things at the AHL level. I do not see him being like a second liner for more than a couple periods tomorrow. I really don't.
Yeah,
And
What do you mean a couple periods? That's like more than half the game.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like he'll be there to start the game. At the 4-minute mark of the second period, is Arshdeep Bains still getting shifts ahead of Evander Kane?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Well, I think it's going to be a pretty even split. It's going to be an even split, I'd say, between those three lines. Maybe the first line will be in a league of its own, but like you're not going to limit Connor Garland's ice time so you can get Jonathan Lekermacki out there more at 5-on-5.
Yeah, like originally you were saying as a 3-man unit at 5-on-5, how you thought the Coots, Lekermacki, Kane line would get more than the 3-man unit of Hedl, Garland,
and
Bains. That part I disagree with because again, Garland in total ice time averaged nearly 19, 20 minutes a game last year.
Fair enough.
He's still going to play a ton, and Hedl is still going to play a lot too. Plus, I think with Coots being his NHL debut and Lekermacki being a little bit unproven as well, I don't expect those two to get huge minutes. Like I'd personally be surprised if both of those guys end up with ice times over 15 minutes. I expect them to be in the low teens range ice time wise. Now, could I see Evander Kane getting double shifted in Bains' spot during some parts of the game? Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think Bains is necessarily gonna there are things you can do to where I don't think Bains is gonna end up finishing the night with more ice time than Evander Kane, especially because Kane's gonna get first unit power play time.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to I like this. People are really having the Bains conversation in the chat. We'll talk about it. The Canucks play tomorrow, and then we'll break down the game after, and we'll see how it ends. It's not the end of the world. It's not. But read the quotes from Adam Foote over at CanucksArmy.com. Scenes from Morning Skate, courtesy of Jeff Patterson. All right, tonight's NHL slate. Oh, no, before that, the extensions today. Matthias Ekholm gets 3 years at $4 million in Edmonton. That one came as a bit of a surprise to me. How about for you, Harm?
Yeah, I honestly hadn't even seen that before the show went up. Is that a $4 million AAV?
Yes.
You're saying?
Yes, it's too much. It's because Tyler Myers should be your benchmark.
Oh, come on.
I know Ekholm. I know Ekholm.
Come on, don't compare Matthias Ekholm to Tyler Myers, man.
Okay, isn't Ekholm older now?
He is, but he's also been a legit top pair defenseman. He's been a legit top pair defenseman.
He's 39, Harm. They're going to be making $4 million until he's 39 years old.
$4 million is in 2 years. That's third pair money.
I guess.
And again,
a 39-year-old? I don't know.
I don't mind this for the Oilers at all. And now, again, Ekholm and Bouchard together have look at their numbers, even in non-McDavid and non-Draisaitl minutes. Look at the minutes when it's Ekholm, Bouchard, and the Oilers' mediocre bottom six historically. They still end up controlling almost 60% of shots and chances and actual goals. Ekholm is there's room for him to fall off and still be an effective player, which he is slowing down, and the health is becoming a question mark as well. But his starting point is so high right now that he's a legit number 2. He can fall off a bit and still be a good number 4-5. You can't compare him to Myers, whose starting point was always as a 4-5. And the beauty with Myers is he just hasn't really had a fall off. He's maintained. Ekholm is a 2, and yes, we're assuming he's going to fall off as he approaches his mid to late 30s, but he's going to fall back into being a 4-5. And with the cap going up, that's not a bad number.
Mark said Ekholm owes McDavid several steak dinners for that extension. The other extensions, Jack Eichel, Kyle Connor. Let's start with Eichel. 8 years, $13.5 million annually. No surprise here. This was going to be one that he's their number one center. They know he's their number one center. He knows it as well. I think, especially given the context of the Kaprizov contract, which is kind of your bar setter, this is a fine contract for, I think, Vegas and for Eichel.
Yeah, fair contract for both sides. Comes in under Draisaitl's $14 million, which you like if you're Vegas. Eichel was unbelievable last year. I expect him to have another monster year now that he's got Mitch Marner to play with. But 13.5 is also a good number, considering when you play for the Vegas Golden Knights and like that organization knows how much players want to stay there, and some of the discounts that guys like Hannafin have taken. Would it have shocked me if Eichel's number had been 12, for example, instead, or 12 and a half, just because of the Vegas factor and how much of discount guys take? No. So for him to end up at 13 and a half, like, I think that's good business for him too.
Kyle Connor with the Jets, 8 years, $12 million annually. What a contract for the Jets.
Yeah.
They didn't pay any premium of, oh, we need this guy to agree to live in Winnipeg for the next 8 years of his life. They didn't have to do that. This was a nut. Like, what is going on in Winnipeg? They got Scheifele below market value. They got Hellebuck way below market value. Now they've got Connor. Like, this is great. This is great for the Jets, and I'm happy for them. I'm happy for their fan base. I'm happy for their team. That's great news for them. I didn't think it would get done at this price. That's the one that's shocking to me.
Yeah, so Kirill Kaprizov is definitely a better player than Kyle Connor, especially because Connor has defensive issues that Kaprizov flat out doesn't. But he's not $5 million per year better than Kyle Connor. And I would have thought, all right, maybe Connor ends up at around 14, especially if you're accounting for the Winnipeg tax. But there apparently is no Winnipeg tax, so that's a really good deal for them, and it just makes Kaprizov's 17 million AAV stand out more and more, like just stick out.
Jacob said something about Irfin Pagnotta, whose show launched today. That one is out. Make sure you go watch it. Daily Faceoff. The Jets have bonus payouts for the length of the contract, something they've never done before, and that was how they got it done. Do you want to expand on that, Jacob?
Yeah, as far as I understood it, and I know, if I'm not mistaken, some of those rules are changing, right, with the new CBA next year about how, like, what percentage of contract can be salary versus bonuses, right? Am I?
Yes, yeah, you're right. You're right.
So, like, they really took advantage of this while they still could, because I think they went to the max with bonus payments. His actual base salary is going to be lower on this deal, which is what Kyle Connor wanted. And the Jets have never structured a contract like that before. The Jets have always just done mostly salary, keep the bonus payments low. But hey, look, they went out, they got the maximum length and the maximum bonus percentage while they still could under the CBA, and got the deal done. Like, pretty impressive stuff. And yeah, like, a lot of players have the Jets on their no trade lists, but it seems pretty clear that the guys that they draft and develop themselves, Scheifele, Hellebuck, Connor, like, they're picking and developing the right guys who want to stay there. And, like, it's pretty hard to argue with the draft and develop approach when you're able to lock guys up on these pretty good team deals.
Yeah, that's a great deal. Like, Connor scored 41 goals last year. Like, Connor's a really good player. Someone in the chat called him the most underrated player in the league. Do you agree with that, Harm? Most underrated player in the league. Who is it?
Well, no, I don't think it's Kyle Connor, because everybody talks about him as being.
It's not Alex Barkov.
Like, it's not Barkov. It's not Jacob Slavin. So no, like, I get where that commenter is coming from, though. If you were to poll, like, a casual hockey fan, Kyle Connor probably doesn't come to mind among, like, when you think of the most electric,
players,
high-end stars in the league. So from that perspective, I get it. But people have called him underrated, I think, long enough that he's fairly rated, especially because I still think he has some defensive issues.
Okay, who's the most underrated player in the NHL? That's our new question.
Oh, you can't ask me off the top of my head.
That's Trudemko. That's Trudemko.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
The guy that got $8.5 million on an extension, coming off a year where he was hurt and had a sub 900 save percentage.
You know what's funny, though? Like, do you remember when Quinn Hughes was underrated? Because that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Seriously. When Quinn Hughes was underrated, Demko was underrated. Like, ahead of that Vezina season where he finishes the runner-up, like, people in Vancouver were talking so much about how, no, this is one of the best goalies in the league. You don't understand that he has maybe one of the worst defensive environments in the entire league in front of him, and he's still putting up pretty solid results. So, yeah, I don't know. It was funny when, you know, Quinn Hughes is underrated. Like, now it's universally agreed upon that it's Quinn and Cale in their own range. But, like, even, and not to pick on Dom, he took enough slack for this, but remember the 3C thing?
3B, yeah.
3B. Sorry, I even made it worse than it actually was. 3B, like, you can't name that many defensemen ahead of Quinn Hughes. And at the time, I know you and I obviously both disagreed with it, but that's what I'm saying is, like, unless you were watching him every night, he was underrated to, you know, when looked at through the rest of the league, when everybody else was kind of looking at him. So good times when those guys were underrated. Now everybody knows about them, which is great. Anything else from either of you?
No, I think I'm good.
Should we change the name of the segment to anything else? Because when I came up with the name anyone else, it was like, okay, does anyone else have anything, or did anyone else notice this? But I always finish it by saying, is there anything else from either of you? So
Yeah, but if it's ending the segment, why would you want to end the segment with the name of the segment?
let's get to our Bet365 of the day. Baseball's back. Oh no, we're gonna do NHL. We're gonna do the NHL. I like this. We are taking Jacob's Montreal Canadiens to upset the Toronto Maple Leafs in their home opener. Plus 145 odds. You can get the Habs money line. Remember, folks, we're going with the funniest outcome possible. That's what we did last night. Penguins shut out the Rangers. My only regret is not picking shutout as my bet. 195 odds was last night. 145 plus 145 odds. You can get Habs money line to take down the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's our bet of the day. It is brought to you by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get on the game. Use the code NATION at Bet365. Must be 19 plus to play. If you choose to play, please play responsibly. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Thanks for listening to Canucks Conversation. For my co-host Harmon Dial, I'm talking about Jacob Lazar. My name is Dave Quadrelli. We'll see you tomorrow. Canucks Conversation is live Monday through Friday, every weekday at 2 p.m. over on the Canucks Army YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, and interact in the YouTube live chat every day.